Morning students, today we are going to see lesson 2 consumption analysis. First we will see consumption. In this lesson we are going to learn about consumption. It is an essential economic activity. Consumption is the act of satisfying human wants. Let us proceed into the lesson. First we will see about utility. Define utility. Utility is the capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. It means utility means usefulness. In economics, utility is the capacity to satisfy human wants. Next, we will see about mention the classification of wants. That there are three classification of wants: necessaries, comforts, and luxuries. Necessaries means what is essential for our daily life. For example, food. And comforts means it is about the extra to live a standard life. That is called as comforts. For example, electrical appliances in a house like mixie grinder or two-wheelers. And next one about the luxuries. Luxuries means advanced and living luxurious life. Luxurious life means, for example, dishwasher to wash the vessels and car instead of two-wheelers. These are the luxuries in our life. Name the basic approaches to consumer behavior. Next we will see about the basic approaches to consumer behavior. That is, first one, cardinal approach. Cardinal approach, it involves the use of measurable utility to study consumer behavior. Cardinal approach, it involves the use of measurable utility to study consumer behavior. An ordinal approach means a stability, the utility which can rank qualitatively. Next we will see about the degrees of price elasticity. Price elasticity means the variation in the prices. The prices will exceed and increase and decrease, isn't it, in price level. For example, you take gold. What are the degrees of price elasticity? Means that is the extension and contraction of price elasticity. For example, gold. When perfect elastic demand means the EP. Degrees of price elasticity, that is perfect elastic demand means EP is equal to infinite, okay ba? Then next one, perfectly inelastic means EP is equal to 0 where there is no change in the product but the price level will be same. Next one, relatively elastic demand means EP is greater than 1, proportionate change in demand greater than the change in price. Proportionate change in demand greater than the change in price. I am repeating for you to save it in your mind. And next one, relatively inelastic demand means EP is lesser than, EP means the electrical price, the elasticity of price. Elasticity of price lesser than 1, that is change in demand is for a product is less than the change in price. Lastly, we will see about the unitary elastic demand. Unitary means elasticity of price is equal to 1, that is change in demand and change in price are same, will be the same. And if you see in the first point, perfectly elastic demand is infinite and the perfectly inelastic demand is 0, no changes will be there. And relatively elastic demand means the elasticity of price is greater than 1, and relatively inelastic demand means the elasticity of price is lesser than 1, that is the price level will be lesser. And unitary elastic demand means it is equal, both the demand and the price level will be same. Next we will move on to the meaning of indifference curves. What is the meaning of indifference curves? It is combination of commodities together, that is two or more commodities together. If you are having a curve xy, so x will be one curve and y will be one curve, isn't it? So there are two curves. Indifference curves means are those combination of two goods which give equal satisfaction to the consumers. Next we will see about the formula of consumer surplus. Consumer surplus means what the consumer's surplus means profit. When a consumer is getting a profit is called as surplus. When your mother, for example, if your parent is giving 1,000 rupees to get a shirt, you are going to the shop and you are getting a shirt for 800 rupees. That is the potential price. So you will get 200 rupees extra, and that is called as the surplus. It will be a savings. So potential price minus actual price. Potential price you are taking 1,000 rupees and the actual price is 800 rupees. So the surplus is 200 rupees. You can write any one formula, that is enough. Consumer surplus is equal to potential price minus actual price. Mathematical consumer surplus is equal to TU minus P into Q. That is not needed. The first formula is enough. What are given goods? What are given goods? Why? Given goods are inferior goods is an exception of law of demand. When the price of an inferior good falls, the poor will buy less and vice versa. That is, when the price is falling, what will happen? The people will get more and more goods, isn't it? For example, rice, ragi, wheat, all these things. When the price is going down, they will get more and more goods and they will save it for themselves. Next we will see about describe the functions of human wants. The human wants are unlimited. Unlimited means your wants are continuing more and more, need more and more. Wants become habits. For example, you are reading a newspaper. So you regularly get a newspaper. So wants are satiable. That is satiable. Satiable means full satisfaction. When you get a product, you get a full satisfaction. Wants are alternative. Alternative means you have a choice, tea or coffee, cool drinks or hot drinks, like that. Wants are competitive. Competitive means competition among wants. We have those to choose more urgent wants than less wants. Which is more needed, that only we must select, isn't it? Now at present we need a two-wheeler or a mobile. Your parents are giving a choice. You need a two-wheeler or a mobile. You will select mobile. Why? At present you need a mobile for your online class. Not only a mobile or laptop or something other else. Next one, complementary. Wants are complementary means satisfaction of wants requires the use of more than one commodity. That is car and petrol, ink and pen, for example. So you listen properly. Satisfaction of wants require the use of more than one commodity. One commodity is needed for the product to be used. And wants are recurring. Wants occur again and again. Example, food we take whenever we feel hungry, isn't it? Morning we take the breakfast, afternoon we have lunch, and then again we have the dinner. So all these wants are recurring. That is called as wants are recurring. Mention the relationship between marginal utility and total utility. Marginal utility means it is the addition made to the total utility by the consuming more of commodity. Total utility means sum of utility of all units of commodity consumed. That means total utility refers to the sum of utilities of all units commodity consumed. That is, when you are purchasing something, okay, you are buying in lump, whole sum. So it is called as total utility. Marginal utility is just an addition made. If you are getting a paste, they tell you 10% paste will be extra free, isn't it? That is called as marginal utility, addition made to the total utility by consuming one more unit of a commodity. For example, paste, cream, all these things. They give extra. 10% they give. You would have seen in ads. So the formula for marginal utility is equal to MUN. This is a formula you must learn. Is equal to total utility N minus total utility N minus 1. So next we will see the difference between marginal utility and total utility. That is, when marginal utility declines, total utility increases. When marginal utility reaches 0, total utility reaches maximum. So for example, you take a pencil in your hand, you put a dot. You put a dot or you just write and see this. Marginal utility is declining means you put an arrow down. Total utility is increasing means you can put an arrow upside. So marginal utility reaches 0 and total utility reaches maximum. When marginal utility is coming to negative, the total utility declines. Declines means completely it's going out. So next we will see about explain the concept of consumer's equilibrium with a diagram. In this case, you will see the diagram. So you see the diagram, the consumer reaches equilibrium at the point where the budget line is tangent on the indifference curve. So I will explain to you the diagram. In this, the tangent curve, consumer reaches equilibrium means the demand and supply are equal. Equilibrium means the demand and supply are equal. The demand is also same by the producer and the supply is also same by the producer. So demand and supply is equal and it's coming to equilibrium. The budget line is tangent means the line that touches the curve at any particular point that goes in the same direction. You see the tangent T, okay va? So you see the curves. The budget line is tangent means the line that touches the curve at any particular point that goes in the same direction. You see the curves, it's going in the same direction. Next you have a formula for this, that is MRS XY is equal to PX by PY. This is the formula for consumer equilibrium. I have explained you the diagram, isn't it? It has same direction of curves. The budget line is tangent, means line that touches the curve at any particular point. The point we can just mark it as T. It may be tangent line or it may be the point. Okay, ma'am. Then, okay. Next we will see about the theory of consumer surplus. As I told you, you are a consumer, you are going to buy a product. Your parent is giving 1000 rupees, you are getting a product for 800 rupees. And the extra amount which you are getting in your hand as savings is called as surplus. Alfred Marshall defines consumer surplus as the excess of price which a person would be willing to pay a thing rather than go without the thing over that which he actually does pay in the economic measure of the surplus. Thus, satisfaction. This may be called consumer surplus. I will tell you in easy words. You are taking an amount to buy a product, but you have a savings at the back. Instead of paying more amount, you get a less amount and you have a savings in that amount. That is called as consumer surplus. You are a consumer. The surplus which you get in hand is called as, the profit which you get in hand is called as consumer surplus. So you will see the diagram for the consumer surplus. The diagram you see. In this diagram you can see that is x-axis is quantity demanded and the y-axis is price. So when you are drawing the curve demand, that is D1, you see PQOC is there, that rectangle is formed, and the curve is C, consumer surplus. The shaded area is a consumer surplus. X-axis shows the amount demanded and y-axis represents the price. DD1, that is demand curve, shows a utility which the consumer derives from the purchase of different amounts of commodity when price is OP. You see in the diagram in the left side, OP. Just see in the diagram OP. In the price side, y-axis. The amount demanded is OQ. That is in the OQ is here, quantity demanded. Hence, actual price is OPC. OPCQ means that rectangle box is called as OPCQ. OP into OQ is equal to, that is potential price total utility, is ODCQ. So you see the diagram when you draw, as I told you, like geometry, when you draw the diagram itself you can write the explanation. You will write construction in geometry, isn't it? That is the way you will draw the diagram properly and you will write the explanation of the diagram. That's all in economics. You will draw the diagram properly and you will write the explanation. So you see the diagram. Again I will show you the diagram. So you see OPCQ, that is in the rectangle. OP into OQ. OP into OQ. Potential price total utility is ODCQ. Where is the D? You see on the top the D is there. So you see the curve. The curve starting is D. So ODCQ will be, and the shaded portion will be a consumer surplus. Next we will see about the distinguish between extension and contraction of demand. Extension and contraction of demand means nothing. Changes in the demand. When demand changes, as the price level changes, there is a change in the demand. Change in the demand means the demand for a commodity changes due to a change in price. For example, gold or your costumes. It is also called extension and contraction demand. Extension means increase. A contraction means demand. You do by your hand. If you are having an elastic in your hand, what you will do? Extending means you will extend. You will stretch your hand. And contraction means you will bring your hand closer. When there is decrease in price of commodity, there is increase in demand. As I told you, when the price level is decreasing, the demand will increase. விலை குறைய குறைய demand கூடிட்டே இருக்கும் இல்லையா? When the price level decreases, the demand will increase. This is called extension of demand. So you can do it in your hand itself. Just you have two hands together and you see. When you are extending, the extension will come. So the price level, when it is decreasing, the demand will increase. When there is an increase in price of commodity, there is a decrease in the demand. When, for example, when the gold level is increasing, rate price is increasing, will you purchase gold? No, isn't it? So there will be a contraction. When it is decreasing only, you will buy more gold. This is called contraction of demand. Extension means expanding of price and the demand level also will increase. Thus, demand varies in the opposite direction due to change in price. You can do it by your hands itself, in your palms. What are the properties of indifference curves? Indifference curves, just you see the diagram. That is, any indifference curve has a negative slope. Has a negative slope. Negative slope means it will flow down. And indifference curves are convex to the origin. Convex to the origin means as the consumer begins to increase use of good over another, the curve represents the rate of substitution. It is convex to the origin. Okay, next one. Indifference curves cannot intersect each other. You see the picture. Does any curves intersecting, cutting each other? No, isn't it? Just they are straight lines, vertical line, horizontal line, and a slanting line. These are the indifference curves. It cannot intersect each other, and it does not touch each other, horizontal or vertical axis. It may be a horizontal line or a vertical line. It does not touch each other. You just see the figure. You see the first figure. AB is a straight line there, isn't it? And commodity X you see, next second figure. It is also a line, but it is not touching each other. And the last one you see, commodity Y. There is also, they are not touching each other. Do not touch each other, do not intersect each other. But it is convex to the origin. Convex to the origin means, as the consumer begins to increase use of goods over another, the curve represents the rate of substitution. It's convex to the origin. First one, negative slope means two variables are negatively related, that is when x increases, y decreases. When y increases, x decreases, like that. Negatively slope means the line from left to right. Left to right, your left hand to right hand. So there is a variation in the negative slope and the positive slope. So all the curves will be left to right only, negative slope, okay. So you can see the diagrams for all these things, all these indifference curves. First one is for the indifference curves are convex to the origin. So it is convex to the origin. Next one you see. Indifference curves are not only negatively sloped but also convex to the origin. Indifference curves cannot intersect. You see, it cannot intersect. Indifference curves do not touch the horizontal or vertical axis. So you will see all the diagrams and you will understand the topic. I have explained to you everything. If you have any doubt, you can ask me personally. With this, we will stop this lesson and we will continue in the next part. Thank you, children. God bless you.